Today at Manchester Theatres, it is my absolute pleasure to be welcoming back Richard Hurst as he gets ready to come to Manchester from the 26th of March in the highly anticipated Matilda the Musical. Now, we last saw Rich when he was here in Dear Evan Hansen at the Palace Theatre, but after training at the Royal Academy of Music, he has gone on to be in some cracking shows such as The Duchess of Malfi, A Chorus of Disapproval, The Lion King, Bodyguard, Sunny Afternoon, and My Night with Red, to name just a few. So thank you for joining us again today to talk all things maggots and Matilda.
It's Matilda, I know. We move on pretty quickly, don't we? Which
I
is
know, right?
love.
So Matilda, I mean, it's such a huge musical out there, but there's different versions. We've got obviously the book by Roald Dahl, then there was the 90s film, the stage musical by Dennis Kelly, Tim Minchin, and then there was a film made of that. So tell people what they can expect story-wise with this version that we're coming to watch.
Well, on stage, you will get the story of Matilda, um, but you will also find out a lot more about these characters. Yes, you get a lot more backstory. You get Tim Minchin's brilliant songs, which just fantastic. And yeah, you know Trunchbull. You know, you get to find out a lot about her and her story, her journey, her relationship with Miss Honey, and that's fascinating. Actually, really, really interesting.
And of course, you mentioned in Trunchbull there, so that is who you are playing in the show. You are Miss Trunchbull. I mean, she's going to be one of the most intimidating children's characters that's ever been written. So when you're starting with a character like that, where do you kind of look at how you connect with her so that you don't just like kind of, to use a song, revolt from her yourself?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not helpful to go in judging, that character. It isn't helpful. You kind of have to, especially with Trunchbull, there's a reason why she behaves in the way that she behaves, right? And so, as an actor, you have a responsibility to understand it, and therefore make her make her truthful and believable, so that the audience can understand and empathize, why she behaves in that way. Not sympathize with her, but I mean, with her, my way in was that there's a lot of sadness. She's unbelievably vulnerable, and she's broken. And so that was my way in, absolutely, with finding who she was, and therefore it makes sense why she behaves in the way in the really, disgusting things that she does. And she's an absolute formidable character, isn't she? And she's a hulking villain of the peak. But I guess there was no difference to when I was trying to find my version of Scar in the line. Your way in is always to try and understand them, why they behave in that way.
Yeah, it's really interesting hearing you say that because I've seen you play this part. I came to Liverpool to watch it, and you know, it would have been an option, let's say, because it's a children's show, to play her almost as the pantomime kind of villain. And you absolutely do not do that. I mean, you go for it. You are
Yeah.
scary. You are, and you're giving, as you said, like, to find the truth, and you give that truth to everyone in the audience, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, the thing you have to remember, when you put a man in a rather, not to give anything away, but in a rather tight fitting costume, as we see in the second half, there are concerns that it could become a little bit kind of pantomime dame like, and that is absolutely not where you want to go with it, because actually on that line she is very much a woman, right? And has this unbelievably masculine energy to her. And so what was really fun in rehearsals was finding that femininity to her, because it's such a masculine energy that she brings. And she's such a force. But when you bring that kind of lovely little slight touches of femininity to her, it's really lovely. It's really lovely to play, because she's so far from that, but yeah, you see glimpses, and that's lovely. That's really nice.
You do, and you also see glimpses of humor as well with her. There's moment. I mean, that was the brilliant thing. There was moments when I was recoiling as an adult, going, oh God, it's actually really scary. But then the next moment, you'd like reel us back in with whether it was the way she was dressed or a certain way that she said something, and it's funny, and she's not necessarily intentionally funny, but you literally get the audience eating from the palm of your hand with it.
Yeah, well, because she's that's the dynamic between Trunchbull and Matilda is just fascinating, because actually Matilda is just way more advanced in so many ways than actually Trunchbull is, and she's some of her responses are just so childlike, and there's a wonderful line that it's like the first scene, and Miss Honey says that oh, but Matilda Wormwood can read, and Trunchbull slips in, well, so can I. It's just so silly, but she absolutely means it with brilliant.
It is. So what's one of your favorite insults then that we know the maggots one, what's one of the others maybe that you like?
Well, I love, obviously, Dahl's writing is just brilliant, and the words, and to get your mouth around some of these words, alliteration, which is just, for an actor, just great. And then Dennis Kelly, he's brought that color to the book as well in the musical. And there's just, I love once Trunchbull in I think it's the first, just before Bruce Bogtrotter, the scene with the cake, and Miss Trunchbull comes on for the scene, and you've got Bruce Bogtrotter and all the children in the class, and Bruce is there. But Miss Trunchbull sees Matilda, grabs Matilda, places her on the desk, and she says, "This morning you sneaked like a serpent into the kitchen and stole a slice of my private chocolate cake from my tea tray." I think just a great line.
Yeah, that is brilliant. A lot of alliteration there for sure.
Yeah. It's great.
And this is also a very physically demanding role. I mean, the costume alone, it's like you built like a tank up here almost. But then she's an ex-Olympian. So they've got you doing rhythmic gymnastics with the ribbon, you're vaulting over horses. I mean, yeah, you make it look so effortless. How was the rehearsal process for that to kind of get to that stage? Was it kind of I've actually got to do this stuff?
Yeah. And I look back on videos, actually, Karen, and I think, gosh, I made that look so difficult, and I was literally just jumping on the trampette, and which I'm not undermining but just these were just the initial stages of. And I'm just jumping without the box, vaulting over the box. But I'm just jumping on the trampette onto the crash mat, and it was, gosh, what was to come in costume and everything else. But it's an athletic feat on a nightly basis, really, for everyone involved on some. It's the choreography. It's so spiky, and the energy on a whole new level, really. But I think for me, as soon as I started to get into costume, and obviously I wear a bodysuit, and the scale of Trunchbull is quite something. I often get asked if it's heavier than Scar, And I do think that the battery packs that I wore for Scar to work the mechanics of the mask were heavy. But I think it's the scale, and she's so top heavy as well. Quite a large chest and big shoulders, and there's a hump, and then you have the wig, the top knot.
Yeah.
Is quite top heavy, but that is great in terms of finding her physicality, because I wanted her to be quite off balance and off center, and that really really helps with it. So yeah, once you get into costume, that certainly helps you to find the character even more in the physical sense.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it like that. I'm just picturing me in that kind of costume now, and I know I just would have face planted within the first few seconds, like, because it is so all up here, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
She's like you said, she's this very. She used to be, very athletic, and I guess in some ways is slightly let herself go a little bit, and yet still is training, but yes, in probably the wrong ways. So she's just very very top heavy, yes, and so yeah, that makes a huge
Yeah.
difference. Yeah, to how you hold yourself in the show, and you have to use it. Yeah,
She just flings children instead of discus now.
exactly. That loves every moment of it.
So with the children in the show, then you've got two teams of children, and do they kind of tour round all of it with you, or are you getting different groups of children per city that you're going in?
We have, I think, roughly 24 children, 24, 27 children, and they alternate. So 3 days with us, one set of children, and then we'll get another set of children that join us. They will leave, and it will be like this until we go to Bristol. And then we have a children's cast change, so we'll get new kids in with these parts, and yeah, so it really helps. It keeps things really fun
Yeah.
for all of us involved, because they bring a new, if they've been away from the show for a week and had been at home and experienced just being at home, and they bring that with them and that energy, and so it's lovely to play with that on their return. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, because that must, so for the adults in the cast, that's kind of keeping you constantly on your toes. It can never really get stale, can it? Not that I'm suggesting it would anyway, but you know what I mean? There's
No,
constantly that turnover and change.
yeah, definitely, and you have to work. I mean, you have to work really hard against that. That's part of the job, isn't it? We're saying these lines and doing this on a nightly basis, but every show you have to make sure that it is fresh, and absolutely having that energy that they bring really does help. And they're an integral part of the show. Obviously, I mean, they are in it a lot, and the responsibility that they have in the show is huge, and is just as demanding as it is for them. It is for us. They're big. They're playing really big characters, and integral to the show. So it's really important. Yeah. Important for us to bring it as well for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And with the children, then Miss Trunchbull likes to put them in chokey. So as a child, what would you, Rich, have been put in chokey for, do you think? By Miss Trunchbull.
That's so easy. I was always talking, always just I can just see myself, yeah, absolutely, now in class. Teacher would even just have her back to me and just be, Richard, be quiet. It was that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Talking. Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't recognize. I often get asked as well if I had a teacher that potentially inspired my Trunchbull, but I didn't. I did.
yeah.
Really lovely, actually, very nice. But
Thank goodness.
but I guess we've all had experienced some form of bullying or abuse of power. So, but I guess not in a teacher as vicious. Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
So there's going to be lots of young people and children coming to watch this, and for many of them, they're going to see all these other children on stage, and they're going to be like, oh, I want to do that. And that's going to be their moment of inspiration of, I want to do this. This is what I want to do in my life. So when was that kind of moment for you, knowing that this was what you wanted to do, but also any advice that you can give for any young people? I've got some students now, and I've just learned today that one of them is playing Miss Trunchbull actually in their school production. Yeah.
Wow. So many at Stage Door who are doing full production, and wow. So sorry, I cut you off.
Sorry, I went off on one, didn't I? Sorry. So what was your moment of knowing this was what you wanted to do?
My moment, I remember, and I was only talking about it with my parents actually the other day, because they had spoken to a friend of theirs who had seen me in this production, and I did a production at school, which was the Dracula Spectacular Show, and I played Dracula, and that was it. And I specifically remember saying to my parents that I think this is what I want to do, and I really, no one in my family is creative in this sense of in this world, but so I really did just made it happen, really, and so it was a school production. Bearing in mind, working with the likes of these young Matildas and Bruce Bogtrotters, and I mean, I could never have done it at that age. Rather a cliche, but I just genuinely couldn't. I mean, I was in the church choir, and just to try and get me to sing a solo line was hard enough. It was, but so it took me a while to really find that confidence. But yeah, I definitely had that moment at school where I did the school production, and I just wish I did more, really, at school. I kind of was maybe a bit too shy to do it, but I had that experience, and then it all went from there, really.
So maybe that's the advice then as well. Just do as much as you can and keep believing in yourself and pushing forward.
Yeah,
anyone
brave. You be brave. I think what I really admire in these, the kids that I work with on this show is that they're so unbelievably brave that they just throw themselves in, and they don't think of what will this person think if I mess. What will they? It's just let's do it. Let's attack it. And I wish I had more of that. I learned to be that way, because actually I think when you don't succeed and it's a really positive experience, because you have to pick yourself up and attack again. And I think that really helps with resilience.
Yes.
My goodness, do you need that? So that would be, I would say, absolutely.
Be brave. I love it. Well, we'd better let you go, because I know you have a show to get to go and perform in. So thank you so much for your time today. As we said, you can catch Richard and the cast of Matilda at the Palace Theatre from the 26th of March right through to the 25th of April. Now, it sounds like a long space of time, but tickets are flying, so I'd get them while you still can. Thank you so much, and we will see you very, very soon.
Thank you, Karen.
All the best.